You're listening to the 904wed.com podcast featuring Premier Bride of Northeast Florida, brought to you here by jackshomes.com. Joining me today is my co-hostess with the mostest right on top there. That is Ann LaFiles of Premier Bride Northeast Florida, the magazine, the wedding expo, bridal expo extraordinaire. If you haven't met Ann, well, you haven't been taking your wedding very seriously at all. And of course, we've got our bride-to-be, the very beautiful Amber. Her wedding is coming up in April of 2021, right around the corner. And, you know, if you haven't been watching, we have been following Amber on a very real wedding journey here as she plans her wedding with, you guessed it, that is her fiance. Amber, you want to give us the official introduction here?
This is my fiance, Mr. Christopher Marlatt, the special guest tonight.
Very excited to be on. I've been hearing from afar all these recordings from the other side of the house, so excited to be on today.
You just had to get in the action. You couldn't be left out anymore being part of this Marlatt AF 21 hashtag tradition that is about to unfold in front of your eyes. It's like every week we do this, we get closer and closer. It feels like we're going lightning speed to me, and I'm not really in your wedding, but I have a small role here, and we'll talk about that at some point. But let's talk about this experience, Chris, from your perspective. We've been hearing a lot from the bride's perspective, a lot from the bridal expert's perspective, but how are things going here as the groom?
Yeah, I'd say definitely did not have the expert background in weddings that Amber had. So when I first proposed, I don't know if she told you, but I kind of guesstimated it would take 7-8 months or so to put together a wedding. Figured maybe we could squeeze it in the fall, proposed in March, and I was quickly told that was in no way going to happen. So we've been on an interesting journey. We've learned a lot. Amber's done a great job. She's definitely led the train, but it's been a learning experience.
That sums up the wedding process for just about every bride and groom out there, right? And it is a learning experience regardless of how much time you give yourself. What kind of advice do you like to give grooms that first come into the picture when you first get to meet them? And when it comes to, bridal expo point of view, bridal magazine, what do you tell them?
Well, I think the first thing we tell them is, we love to see the grooms involved, because whether the bride wants to admit it or not, she does probably want the groom's opinion, or at least him to act a little interested in the wedding planning process, even if he's going to let her make all the decisions, because she wants to also feel validated that all the decisions she's making, he likes too. But we love when the grooms show up at the expos, and we have sections in the magazine for the grooms. So we know that, wedding planning is not just the bride's job anymore. So we want the grooms to be fully committed and involved, and there's something in it for everybody. You know what I mean? It's their big day too.
Chris, have you read a bridal wedding magazine, Premier Bride, or any other version?
No, I have not. No, not a lot of reading going on. I'd say in the very beginning, the big rush we had in the beginning was to find a venue. And we spent a lot of time basically looking up stuff on the internet. It was right in mid-March, and we were panicking. COVID. We were panicking because one of my buddies he was supposed to get married in May, and his wedding got bumped all the way back to May of 2021. So then we were worried that everybody was going to be bumping their weddings back into the time where we would have naturally had ours, and so we had a mad dash for that. So I put a lot of effort in on the venue, and then after that, it's been more conversational than in-person research.
Yeah, but you did do a lot of effort on the venue, because I was so indecisive. Of course, I think women pay attention to small little details and not necessarily the big picture of certain things at times. So when you walk in, you're picking apart, and he was like, then again, Chandler, there's nothing to pick apart. There's nothing to pick apart. The tractor.
Yeah.
I mean.
As soon as we got into that one, we both were positive that was one.
Yeah.
The mule, the donkey, all those things.
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
Yacker.
Yeah.
Yes. But it was tough. I mean, in terms of looking at pictures, there was a lot of places I would say that I looked at that looked great on the internet, and we got to them, and either the surroundings were not what we were looking for, or just
Right.
the venue didn't look like we wanted it to look. And we love St. Augustine, and that venue just looked even better in person than it did on the internet.
That's actually true. But originally, we weren't going to really focus in on getting married in Jacksonville and St. Augustine area. Like, we were wanting to do more of kind of like a destination sort of thing, but not, well, just away from it. Like I said, with the family being there, we're like, but we've made it work.
Yeah, you did make it work, and you picked one heck of a time to go through an engagement and plan a wedding. It seems like every week that goes by, things continue to get a little bit more normal. So hopefully that tradition and trend continues all the way through your wedding day. But I thought maybe to start off our podcast today, we'd play a little game with the two of you.
Okay, let's go.
We're gonna test Chris's knowledge about his own wedding coming up here. See how much he knows. All right. Versus what he doesn't. And hopefully I'm not giving away any surprises or secrets. Amber, if I make a mistake here, hopefully Chris is supposed to know everything. Your guests, on the other hand, they're being kept in the dark about a few things. So I know a couple topics. We won't address it all, but we know where you're getting married. You've already shared that. It is at Chandler Oaks Barn, just in the heart of St. Augustine, St. Johns County. I don't even know what to call it anymore. Some people call it St. Augustine. Some people call it St. Johns County. For me, it's just south of Jacksonville. Super convenient place here. But let's talk about a few things. Chris, what time is your ceremony?
I'm gonna go with 5:30.
Amber, is he right? All right, very good. So far, so good. Who is going to be the caterer?
Oh, that's definitely gonna be Anthony's caterer. Yes, I see that.
I'm giving him some softball questions, y'all. Like, I gotta start this easy. All right, we can't get to the.
Confidence. We're building his confidence.
We are. I get asked occasionally to play some games with brides and grooms when I'm DJing their weddings, and for the most part, I'll do anything you guys ask for. And the shoe game is one of the traditions that seems to be really popular lately, and I've seen some very cheesy versions of it, which I will not do, but I've seen some really good ones and been a part of those. And so this is like a mini shoe game, if you will, except Amber already knows the answers, right? Chris does not know the answers, right? All right, so we've knocked out the venue, we've knocked out the caterer, you even know what time to show up. So far, so good, Chris. Let's start to get into some of the hard stuff. Who's going to be the officiant?
Oh, so that's actually one of my fraternity brothers. He is our rabbi, Jed Vorhoff. It'll be his first time, so we're very excited for that.
Now, we got to stop. We're going to stop along the way. This isn't going to be like rapid fire, because you're introducing some aspects to this wedding that I think are pretty darn cool. We don't see it very often, right? And you're bringing a rabbi in. Amber's not Jewish, right? Chris?
So no, neither of us are Jewish.
What's the story here?
Right. So my fraternity brother is Jewish. He's not a rabbi. He is something in finance, but we've been joking that he's our rabbi, so he's going to be doing the wedding.
How did that even happen, though? Like, I tried to explain it early on, I think maybe episode 3 or something, and it was like, yeah, I just fell in love with him, and I randomly.
So we were at one of my other fraternity brothers' weddings. She met him there, and we were talking about. I'd actually been an officiant for a wedding before, and so we were talking about a friend that would be fun and do something, do a good job of keeping it light up there. And she brought it up actually first, and she really liked him when we hung out in Athens. So that was who we picked.
He's hilarious.
You might be the first groom I've ever met, at least, who's admitted to it. Not that I ask all of them this question, and you could chime in here, who's already officiated a wedding, and now you're going to be in one. That's not very normal, right? And Anne loves to say there is no normal, so congratulations on that. There is no normal here. Let's talk about that experience. What did you learn from officiating a wedding that maybe you're going to incorporate or keep in mind for yours?
So for mine, the bride did the everything online for the paperwork, so I'd be ordained, and they'd asked me to, I think from a Friends episode. I don't watch Friends, but somebody on Friends, I maybe it was Joey or somebody did a wedding, something. So anyways, the bride was a big Friends fan, so she was like, I want Chris to do it. So I was like, sure. We did no practice. So we get to the rehearsal, and this is my first time ever doing anything. And the father of the bride is like 100 degrees outside in Savannah. The father of the bride is not wanting to do anything of actual rehearsal. So we went in pretty dry. I was like, man, I would have wished we could have done. So we went in real dry, and but she wrote everything that she wanted me to say. So I got to kind of just read off of that, and I did good all the way to the very end. And for some reason, instead of saying "you may kiss the bride," I said "you may kiss the bride." But that was my only mistake. Everything else went well.
You're the only one that probably remembers that. They were just ready to kiss. No, they all know.
No, they all know.
It happens. It happens. So that's this is not going to be a career decision for you. You're not headed down the officiant path anytime soon.
No, probably not. So we'll see. I think Jed will do a good job. He's a very funny guy. I think we'll take it seriously, but he'll be a little flavor.
And because
does he have stage fright, or is he good at talking in front of crowds?
Yeah, Jed's not shy.
I guess I should know this, and I don't.
He's not shy. He's a talker.
Okay, well that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So, I happen to be Jewish myself, which isn't really important in the scheme of things here today, but there's some important Jewish traditions that get incorporated at a wedding. Is your rabbi officiant going to forget those, or is he going to be squeezing in some of these traditions as well?
We told him to put in whatever he wanted. We told him to, hey, do whatever you want, and we've been very down to do something fun. So I don't know exactly what all he's got planned. I guess we'll have to wait to see for that one.
Yes, we're excited for that because we kind of liked it. I mean,
he's still single, so I don't know how much he knows about
So we've got an officiant who's a rabbi who's also going to be in the garter ceremony if you're doing one because he's a single guy. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. We might marry off our rabbi.
One of the traditions
is. Are you guys going to do the garter and the bouquet toss?
Oh, I'm so back and forth with it. Okay, I say yes, but then, I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be fun because of the crowd that we have.
We're getting old. I don't know how many single friends we have left, but
okay.
There's a couple. I got a couple sisters. She's got a couple sisters.
I'm older. He needs to be very careful.
I do want to stay. I do want Jed to stay away from my sisters, though.
And mine.
Oh man! So you're doing assigned seating. They're not sitting at the same table, huh?
No,
well, that would be fun. Maybe we could get another wedding out of the wedding.
Yes.
Look at Ann already planning and plotting over there. She's thinking. She is drumming up business. We'll talk about garter bouquet in a minute because I wanted to bring that up. Today is a great day to do that because we have both of you here. We got Ann. We see it off. We see it on. It goes back and forth. But let's wrap up the whole the ceremony part. There's a couple important traditions like swinging a live chicken around your head and stomping on the glass. You're going to do all those things too?
I've heard of the stomping on glass. I've never heard of the live chicken.
But although we were just in Ohio, and I heard that your grandma used to do this, but that was for they had a farm, and I didn't know running with a chicken with his head cut off was a real thing.
Yeah, when she met the family, she found out that the family used to step on the chicken's head and pull the neck off.
Maybe we can bleep that on. I
don't know if we'll do
that.
This
is taking a weird turn.
Amber, that's just fun. It's okay.
And I didn't know that. I'm still thinking it's weird not to eat cheese on pizza. I was like, oh, this took a crazy turn,
Oh, we've got to talk about this. We've got to talk about this right now. It has nothing to do with the actual wedding, but it was found out during your wedding process here at your engagement party up there. There's such a thing as pizza without cheese on it. Chris, what's going on in your family, man?
And how did you not prep Amber for this milestone? You knew that was gonna.
So Amber loves to try pizza anywhere we go. So we went up to Ohio. My grandfather grew up on a farm where they used to churn their own butter, and he hated the smell of all that stuff. So he doesn't eat much dairy, no cheese, no butter, nothing like that. So. He even on pizza, and I'm weird too. I don't eat cheese on anything but pizza.
But it's completely
He eats pizza that's just crust, sauce, and pepperoni, and it is not good. It's very dry. But
It's not even pizza. That's not even pizza. That's a pepperoni sandwich with tomato sauce. All right.
But you should have gave Amber some warning, because you would have, you should have known that that's going to like really throw Amber for a loop. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
wanted her to try it. I wanted her to give it a shot. And she did. But
Yeah, no, I know there was a little warning though, because I know that I was supposed to look like his mom did mention to me, like, oh, when we order pizza for his grandfather at a restaurant, the servers always look at us like, did I hear that right? Like, is that real? So that was kind of the prep that I got. And then also he orders meatballs with no cheese. So, and he shouted that through a Subway, so that stuck in my head as well. So I'm like, okay, there is no cheese going on. There's just no cheese. So I was a little prepped until I saw it come out like in the box open. I'm like, this is real. This is real life.
Wow. All right. Back on the wedding quiz, everyone. I've got plenty more questions to ask, and we have tons of time. So let's carry on this little game. All right, Chris. How many guests are coming to your wedding?
ooh, invited 219, attending 149.
Wow, that's impressive. I was not expecting you to get that right. Is he making it up, Amber?
No, that's not even normal. No, he did not just say it like that. And we all know the biggest argument or disagreement is the guest list or the seating chart, let's just say. We're always like, get it done, like figure it out. Well, it's difficult. It's easier said than done, Gosh darn it, that like cliche saying right there. So
We're invited 219. I know that
221 as of today.
221. I know that.
We'll give that to you, Chris.
Two more people made the cut.
Yeah, I know, because I got in charge of buying stamps today. So we ended up going through and seeing a lot of them really far out of town. Doubtful that they will make it. So I promised her that we would be under 150. So that's why I said attending 149. It's the feeling I get. The odd one's going to be Jed. He'll be the one odd.
More efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
I see where you're coming from on that now. I'm with you. I'm tracking what you're saying. Let's talk about that real quick, Ann. When it comes to guest count, right? First off, is there a number that you should exclude? Is it 20%, 10%? Where do you start when you figure out how many more to invite versus the number you actually want there?
It's really hard. It really all depends on how many people are coming from out of town. Because the more people that you invite from out of town, the less people that are actually going to be attending. So if your wedding is, if you have a wedding and you and your fiance are both from the same town and everybody lives in that town, and you're going to invite everybody in the town, you can probably expect everybody in the town to probably show up. But if one or both of you are from different areas and your families aren't from those areas and they have to come in, you can definitely count on a smaller guest list. So, there is no rule per se for it, but not everybody that you invite, no matter what, is going to come. And it just depends on where you live and how formal things are as to see how many people are going to. Because there are some areas of town and there's some areas of this country that I live in where people literally put their wedding announcement in the newspaper and the whole town shows up. You know what I mean? And it's not a big deal. And that's just how it is. It's hard to say because everybody's a little bit different. But the more formal your invitations are, the more people kind of get an idea that, okay, we're not going to bring the kids and Aunt Betty's not in town, so we're not going to have her come too.
But there's a chance if they sent out 221, well, maybe they invited 221 people, they sent out 100-something invites, right? If they're plus ones. But how do they figure that out? There's a chance they might have 200 people at their wedding, right?
There is. There always is. It really depends. Depends on the time of year. If you want to, lower your chances of having a really big wedding, don't have it in your town and put it on a football weekend.
Which they are not doing at all.
But or put it on a holiday.
Slightly out of the town and on a podcast.
Put it on a holiday. Put it on a holiday weekend. You know what I mean? There's ways to.
But we aren't doing
It We're doing okay. I think, also the demographic, we got a lot of elderly people that were invited that, were invited more because, we are, related and care for each other. But in terms of actual expectation to travel,
Right.
From Ohio or Indiana down to Florida, there's not a real expectation there. And we've already had some sort of those conversations with those people too of, hey, you're not gonna be able to make it, but we'll send you a card, a gift card, whatever. So that's kind of been some of the expectation with it.
And to put it in perspective, I mean, my family was all from Nebraska basically when we got married. I honestly think we invited about 220 ourselves, and we sent invitations to 26 different states, and we had about 120 at our wedding. Is what we ended up with. But I knew that a lot of my family from Nebraska wasn't going to travel. So that is what I mean. They were just older, or we did it during harvest.
I just learned about that.
Smart. For those of you who aren't from the South, that's sort of a big deal in the Midwest out there.
Yeah. So
yes.
We reduced ours was almost half, but we kind of knew that just because of how many.
I think we're the same kind of situation. Yeah.
So you guys are prepared to have anywhere between 149 and 221 say yes.
We definitely want to keep it under 200. I think that is the max for the venue. But I think we're definitely safe under 200. I'm fine with it being. It's not a big deal to me in terms of the number of people. I don't mind if we have 200 people. I think she's hoping for a little more.
I mean, much love to all, but no, I just don't want that many. I think because I've been involved in a wedding where I was a guest, and I was also working it, planning it, or catering and doing all these backward, and then also being a part of the bridal party where there's been 200 and 125 and 60 people. And I just favor the kind of between 125 and 150. But when you're coming from a family that's kind of scattered, Italian, that's big and going, and you have Ohio and, Indiana, you can't sit there and kind of slice the list apart. You're like, all right, it's going to be a party.
It is going to be a party. I know that for a fact.
You're lucky. I mean, in Michigan, the weddings average 450 is a small wedding sometimes in Michigan. Where I grew up. I mean, we're the big Italian community. We have the big Italian banquet centers, and 600 is kind of the norm.
I would faint.
Chris, be thankful for that. But we are getting into the best part of the quiz here that we're taking. We're getting to the hard questions.
Oh.
Alrighty.
First off, what are the colors, the theme colors of the wedding?
I'm going to say black, white, and tan.
Did he get that right?
Did I get it right? No.
All right. Amber's giving you credit for that. All right. Very good. Very good. And what is the dress code going to be for the wedding? What is the suggested attire?
Oh, I think Amber put cocktail waitress.
Oh,
Cocktail waitress. You wish.
No,
You wish.
I did not put that.
Something sexy and sultry is what she put on her invitation.
Sexy and sultry. When have you ever seen that on a
I'll
wedding
do the
invite?
bride, please.
Everyone wear white.
I was going to say, what are we not allowed to wear?
I like it, Chris. You figure if you're not going to know the answer, you're just going to go big with it.
No,
You're going big.
The answer, yeah.
Oh,
Not supposed to wear white. Yeah, no white. I know that.
No white. And no flip
Although
flops.
my dad wore a white suit to his wedding, so he
was the groom?
upstaged. I think the bride is still the only one, right?
My dad wore a white suit to the wedding.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Well, let's talk about what you're wearing to the wedding. Amber already kind of alluded that you're doing something a little different. You're not going for the normal fitting like everything else. You're doing something a little unique. Tell us, what are you doing for your own attire, Chris?
So I've been a groomsman to a lot of weddings. Suits always fit terribly with the places that I've gone to. So I figured in terms of actual price to get a new suit, some of the new online places, I think Indochino's one I used in the past for a suit. I had a really good experience with them, and they have a whole wedding section on there.
Are they reasonably priced?
Yeah, so
okay.
reasonably priced. I think under $500 sort of a range, and so then I can get to keep it. And the one that we were looking at was something that would be reusable. It's got like a felt lapel, black felt lapel, and a navy blue jacket. So here we go with that. And then in terms of my groomsmen, I figured probably still shuttle them off to the Joseph A. Banks or something like that. So they don't have to buy a suit if they don't want to buy a suit.
You're letting them so you're not pushing them into any one particular style. You're giving them a color, a theme, and they have to run with it.
No, I think I think still gonna make them all get the same thing, but probably all get the same thing from Joseph A. Banks, so they don't have to buy a suit. I did have a guy. I've been a groomsman for a guy that had us all buy the clothes. We had to buy the blazer, had to buy the pants. That was fine, but I figured just have them rent.
Have you worn it since?
Yeah, actually I did. I think I was like 24. I didn't even have a blazer, so it came in handy. So yeah, we got just blue blazers, little green bow tie, blue button up, and some khakis.
All right, there you go. Guys have it easier. Guys have it easier when it comes to this because most of the clothing can be reused. How about for those guys that are listening to this podcast, hopefully before the wedding, not after, but give them some list of no-nos, things that you're not supposed to be wearing to this wedding. No PFG, right? No performance fishing gear. Leave that at home.
Oh, yeah, we did talk about that, yeah.
In terms of my guests that are not in the groomsmen party?
Well, beyond the groomsmen, right? Your guests that are coming,
right. Yeah. I know nice jeans have been, something that's been more accepted. But I'd say no jeans, no flip flops. I'm gonna say, at the very least, some nice dress pants and a button-up shirt. I don't know, jacket's not completely, mandatory in my mind, but yeah, as long as button-up and some nice dress pants.
I like it. All right, we are moving on. Speaking of dress, we have the dress rehearsal. Where are you guys having your dress rehearsal dinner, Chris?
Ooh, so I don't know that we've completely decided on that one. We're going to do Columbia. And
we haven't caught up with this yet.
Right.
So, yeah, this is a new twist.
Oh, there's a change coming.
So we do have a lot of people coming out of town, and we shifted from a sit-down dinner to something a little more casual where we've got some heavy hors d'oeuvres, a bar, and we can really just kind of invite everybody from out of town. So we do have a lot of people from out of town. And it's hard to figure out exactly.
Right, and I will say if I can just this actually just recently happened because when we were coordinating things with Columbia, our guest count that are flying in, and it's up to you, but traditionally I think etiquette, you're supposed to really invite your out of town guests. For us, that's what we're going to do. And the room size is not, so one room is already booked. So the other room, it wasn't going to accommodate the guest count that it was getting to. So then we had to take a little turn, which not only that, when I was talking to Chris about it, he was like, I really just don't want to be stuffy and sitting down. He kept kind of saying that. But this kind of finalized it to where, okay, so we have two other places that we're back and forth with right now, both in downtown St. Augustine.
To be determined. That's okay. You got plenty of time still. But that was a good...
And I love Columbia, but it just the space wouldn't work for what we were going to have to do, yeah.
I mean, sometimes you have to be realistic about that. I say it's always better to be realistic about it early on, right, than try to cram everyone in and make them uncomfortable. But you are going to still party it up before the wedding in St. Augustine. Do you have a bedtime that night? A curfew, Chris?
No, I think that's my night to make sure that I am present the next day and look presentable. But I would say I'm going to shoot to get back to the room before before the bars close, I would say 1:30. I'm gonna go 1:30.
I'm writing this down.
So that I can't say that I closed out the bars at 2, but 1:30 I left.
I mean, at least you're also being realistic about that. You're going to enjoy the night before your wedding, it sounds like. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I can go 2 days in a row, so I'll be ready.
He doesn't have I have ice cubes under my eyes with ice packs and green tea, and I'm hungover. My one eye's over swollen, and he just wakes up I just have to brush my teeth.
Professional.
Professional.
Just more proof that guys tend to have it easy when it comes to these weddings than women do than brides do, because there's a lot less prep work you have to worry about. Let's talk about things that are getting closer to you right here. Big decisions that are coming up that you guys have in the future, Amber. What are some of the things on your mind right now?
Oh, future after the wedding, or you're saying what's coming up in that process?
Big decisions coming up between now and the next few weeks as we work through this very real podcast.
Pompous.
Pompous flowers, pompous grass.
I hear more about pompous than anything else in this house.
What is that, Amber?
So it's a grass that's grown, and it's crazy that it's very popular and the price is nuts. But a lot of wonderful people are working with us with this pompous, but all he has to hear every time we're traveling. So we've been to Ohio and Napa recently, and I just am like, pompous, look at this pompous. There's pompous. So that's her. But to answer your question, right now I'm actually getting transportation together and room blocks, because we all know, if you don't know, but St. Augustine downtown it's very difficult to do room blocks, but excellent. And I know that's where the bridal shows are. They are so wonderful to deal with. They have a great rate. So that's one place that we are blocking out, but there's other places downtown. It's just a little difficult because we cannot block some out. Or we have to cover them 100%. Cancellation, no option.
Yeah.
We pay for the room. So
you're getting into the serious stuff. When you start talking about guarantees, no cancellation, you know that you are getting serious here, for sure.
Especially when you have 221 people on the thing, and you're like, all right, we want everybody to be able to stay and make sure they're. And then you have the last minute. So the last minute are just going to have to kind of take care of their last minute plans.
Very, very true. Very true. And when it comes to weddings right now, we are roughly, 4 or 5 months out, give or take here by the time this podcast gets out there to everyone. What are some things going through your mind, right, with all your experience that you would advise Amber to start paying attention to, at the 4 or 5 month out mark?
Well, as a 4 or 5 months out, you should probably be booking all, know who the majority of your vendors are and have contracts with them, especially since we're going through this weird timing and everybody who postponed their weddings is getting married in the same time frame that they are. A lot of them have moved their weddings to that time frame, so vendors are going to be, most vendors can only do one wedding a day. So anything that, photographers, videographers, florists, cake bakers, all those people need to be booked pretty quickly. It's not free.
Coming up, Amber. It's coming up.
Amber knows, obviously she's got the caterer already done. She's got the dress done. Hair and makeup, that's all taken care of. So she's got a lot of it, but if you're going to take DJ, we got the DJ done. But if you're going to be particular about anything, we're coming upon that time where you probably do need to make decisions and arrangements on stuff. And it's just going to make you feel better too, because once the holidays start rolling around, it gets a little crazy, and after, the holidays, the wedding is going to be here before you know it.
Chris,
I know, I keep hearing that too.
Chris, final question for you on our quiz show edition of this Bride and Groom Real Wedding Podcast. What are you going to be doing Saturday, April 24th?
Well, I hope to wake up not feeling too hungover, ready to go. We'll slam a couple of whiskeys and get with all my bros and have one last bro out before wedding it up and then off to the honeymoon. So yeah, just hang out with bros for a day.
Well then.
Just be sure you are there by 5:30. Don't be late to your own wedding, Chris. Well, listen, Chris, Amber, you guys have been good sports about this, coming on this podcast together, answering some of the tough questions. Chris, you did a fantastic job, man.
Yes,
This
good job, Chris.
This is a great start for you, I got to say. Great start for you. Amber, Ann is giving you some homework, so you have plenty to be doing over the next couple weeks for sure. Locking down that vendor list, that's for sure. Then you can start working on some of the details. So congratulations to both of you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, and we will catch up with you guys next time. For those of you who have been following along, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can get all the latest updates every time we post a change, add something new to it. 904wed.com. Also sponsored by jaxhomes.com and Premier Bride of Northeast Florida, the magazine and the wedding expo. On behalf of my awesome co-hosts right there, Ann, Amber, and of course her fiance Chris, thank you so much everyone for joining us today. We will catch you on our next episode.